Good afternoon, everyone. Hey guys, this is Bruce Marshall from Simpler Trading with the nightly market update for Wednesday, July the 9th. So welcome, happy Wednesday, happy hump day, and happy FOMC day we had today. So let's look at, let me take this down here. Let's look and see what we got. The light gray is the overnight session. So went into yesterday, with a lot of chop overnight, and when we started going up, and this is right, the black, that's when the market opens, cash session opens, and we were just, to the moon, and then we gave it right back up and came back down, kind of about where we sort of were, the day before. A little, I don't know, nerve-wracking, is that the right word? And that's not what I was expecting. Normally with FOMC, it's not that big a deal, and I thought we would just kind of snooze into today and not really have a whole lot of back and forth action, and that's not what we got. Straight up and then straight back down, and then all the rest of the day we just climbed. And then FOMC was, I guess, kind of right there, and again we just kept going. The Fed, the minutes said the same thing. Powell is in wait-and-see mode right now. He's getting a lot of pressure put on him, of course, from different angles and different places to, cut rates. And he's saying, no, I'm going to wait, and this is data-driven and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, he's obviously knows what he's doing. But it's the same, when they were raising rates, and it was inflation's transitory and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm a little skeptical, but at the same time, those guys are a lot smarter than me, so we'll see. So let's look and see if we're talking about the Fed. So we have our next Fed meeting on July the 30th. It's 29th and 30th, but they will, the meeting's over on the 30th, and that's when we will hear the decision. Now, it looks like, let me show you this Fed Watch tool. So this is for the July meeting, 30th July. There is a 93% chance of nothing happening. Current rates 425, 450. That's 425, 450. So 93% chance nothing is going to happen. Now, if we move this out to September, remember there's no August meeting. If we move it out to September, now things start to get interesting. 63% chance of, remember 425, that's 425. This is 400 to 425. So this is a rate cut going this way. This number was actually higher, and it's come down, meaning it's less and less chance of a rate cut even at the September meeting, right? And let's go out to October here, and you will see now it's getting it really undecided now. So currently 425, there's 425, there's 400, there's 375. So there's an 80% chance, 41 there, 43, there's an 80% chance, 84, 5% chance of some form of rate cut, whether it's here or here. And they don't have to do a quarter. They can do 50 basis points if they want to. So that is what the bond market is actually thinking is going to happen. So let's look at what that means to the overall market. I showed you today, what's going on here, but let's go back. I like to do a 20-day kind of look back, and you can see where this is ES. We're at 59.27 back there, and we hit 63.33 yesterday. Or no, actually that was last Thursday. So that is 406 points in 20 days. Actually less, because that was last week. That is really, really moving. I mean, you can see these move straight up, straight down. There's fire line there, and we're just up and away. And now this skyline is acting as support. And as you can see, next step looks like it wants to be that way. I mean, who knows? I'll show you when we go on a larger time frame what I'm talking about. If we take this out even a little bit further, There we go. So this is our fire line, and you can see we came down, just basically came down and just basically sat on that fire line, and then just rocket ship launch. And notice green, 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 green. One little bitty day of red right there. New all-time high there in the ES. And we look like we want to keep going higher. And I think that's what will happen. Now, that being said, let me switch this over to a Darvis box chart. And you can see, so this is a 34 EMA right here. We are very much extended. This is what happens when you get, there's your 34. When you get extended this much, you come back to a 34. So it's very plausible that we come back, to a 34. And this is just kind of ballparking, really, really ballparking. Nothing super scientific about this, but that puts us around 6,100. The place we've been looking for right now is 60. If we break 6,200, that opens up, the door down here. But we'll see. Again, it's just really, really tough to call right now. There's such a bullish feel on the overall market, and I'm seeing, I know you guys see the same financial press and news and commentary, and I'm hearing, the Golden Cross is happening, and this is a Goldilocks economy, and all this kind of stuff, which bodes for higher prices, and I do think that's what we get. But we are certainly stretched pretty thin and could pull back, at any time. I think we do get a pullback, but I think it's probably a very manageable one, more like this. That's just part of the market going up. It's got to take a breather, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Next move maybe down, and then we keep going higher. So that's my take on the S&P, or basically the overall market. I did want to mention here the NASDAQ. Another new all-time high in the NASDAQ. I mean, it's crazy. Again, we're getting very extended up here, so be careful. Use tight stops. And I am really bullish, and everything's great and all that kind of stuff. But I have been limiting my number of new bullish positions, or trying to limit them. There's a lot of good setups out there, but just you just got to be careful. And I have pretty tight trade management, so I don't. I'm not going to get. I'm not going to get whacked on the downside if we have a big flush down. Because I limit the risk and I manage the trades and all that kind of stuff, and everyone should do that. So anyway, that's what we're looking at here. One last thing I would say is that we've got earnings coming up. Don't forget, we've got CPI next week. On the CPI is the 16th, I believe, and PPI is on the 17th. 17th is the first. Earnings kick off next week, a week from today. And with the bank stocks, I think Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, all that. Then the 17th is the first of the Mag 7s. That'll be Netflix. And then we have Tesla here on the 30th. And then I think it's Meta here, I think. Anyway, in these weeks, we'll start getting the full-blown earnings season. And I think this is going to be a good quarter. So, buckle up, as they say, because it's going to be a wild ride. And don't be surprised if, again, if we have a pullback. But I would say this, and we've been saying this in our live trading rooms too, or I have at least. If we get a pullback, I'm going to use it as a buying opportunity. I think most people will. So don't get spooked. But at the same time, trade management, size appropriately for your account. And be aware of how many positions, and if they're all bullish. If you got 10 positions and they're all bullish. Maybe think about lightening up a little bit, or putting in some kind of, hedge or light hedge or something, to counteract that, because, we're certainly very extended. So with that, let me wind it up here. Hope it was helpful. Join me in the bias room at Simpler Trading. We're in there all day, every day trading. I'm in the main room too. We have main room, and then I have a breakout room called Bias. I am more than happy to help with anything that you have questions on, so just let me know. And with that, let me wind it up, and I will see you guys, or talk to you guys at the next update. Thanks. Take care.
Without Simpler Trading, I could not have financial independence. This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me